And today I want to share with you something that happened pretty recently, over the last couple days actually, about my own personal mindset story and kind of the power in shifting even just one word. Okay. And so the reason that I want to talk about this today, well, there's a couple different reasons. One is to show a real life example of kind of shifting our money mindset in action, right? And so also, I already know that some people are going to be like, well, how are you supposed to help me shift my money mindset when you're dealing with things also? And so I want to share this story to show that money mindset work is not a one and done, it's a practice. And that as you work through some of your own relationship with money and your own attitudes and beliefs around money, new things probably will come up, right? And so that's why I think of it as like an upward spiral and not just like a staircase or a path. Like it's not just a straight line where like once you overcome, you're done, right? Like you're like, oh, here I am, right? I'm on the escalator. It's more like a spiral where it's like, okay, something came up with my attitude towards money. I've worked through that. I've come to new learnings and new affirmations. I'm doing well. Oh, okay, something else came up. And I was actually talking with a friend the other day. We were going through like an AFT session and we were talking about just emotional detox and how sometimes as we work through one thing, right? It's kind of like the saying, high tide raises all boats. Okay, I know this is not the analogy that was intended in that saying, but I'm still going to use it because I feel like it fits. That it raises one, other things might start rising to the surface, right? So as you change your money mindset beliefs around one aspect of money, something else might rise to the surface where you're like, oh, I didn't even realize that that was one of my beliefs or thoughts or feelings around money. And it wasn't until I worked through all this that this could rise to the surface. And so that's another reason why I want to talk about this, is to just show you that these things do come up and you can work through them. I think I worked through this in maybe like 10 minutes or so to change my perspective. Okay. And of course, it's using the strategies that I'm teaching later today in my community. Okay, so if you're watching this live, make sure you go to that. There's going to be some powerful shifts there, right? Some manifestation shifts, things like that, attitude shifts. If you're watching this as like a replay, you can always go into the community and go under like the guide section, and there's the replay there. I like to put the replays in the group so you have access to it all of the time. So, my own story. Okay. I've been doing my own like manifestation work and things. I have my own mentors, right? And one of my mentors was talking about the 8/8 portal, like August 8, like this whole week. And it's called like, I think it's called like the Lionsgate portal. And it's a really prime time to really start thinking about what you want. What do you want to manifest? What do you want the next year? So from like 8/8 to the next 8/8 to happen. And it's just a very powerful like frequency or time right now. Okay. If I'm going to get woo woo about it, which I am because I'm totally into that kind of stuff. And so I was doing my own processing of like, okay, what do I want over the next year? Things like that. And I realized that I had past, right? This hesitation to say, I am rich, just that word rich. And I realized that I avoided writing it in all of like my goals, all of my manifestation journals. I would either say like a specific amount of money, like I am making X amount of dollars, or I would use the term I am wealthy, I am financially stable, I have financial abundance, but I would not use the word rich. And I just had like this statement of like, I am rich. And then I was like, no. And I was like, wait, why did I just say no to that? And the first thing that popped in my head was, I am filthy rich. And that's where I had the aha of like, oh, and I'm saying this because maybe you avoid saying that too, or maybe you might have the same feelings as me. And it was like, I am filthy rich. And I realized that I equated right? Rich to being filthy, to being like when I think about filthy rich, I think about like selfish, greedy, right? Dirty money. Like the only way to be rich is if you're selfish, greedy, or you get your money in a not cool way, right? Dirty money, scamming people, whatever it is. And so for me, I was like, oh, and I noticed that every time I said rich, filthy was automatically attached to it. So that was my own mindset of being rich means that you're selfish and greedy or you got dirty money. And I was like, that doesn't serve me. I want to be able to say I am rich without having those feelings of yucky. So how am I going to change it? Right? And so one of the things though is going through this process multiple times, doing it and having a lot of practice and experience going through these things, I was able to shift that quickly and become aware, right? Like some of us might even just say those things and not even realize it. And so that awareness is so key. And that's why I'm always bringing up awareness because I think it's so important. So after I've worked through this, how does that make me feel, right? And I feel, it just seems yucky to say that. I'm like, well, I don't want to say that, right? I want to be able to use rich in a term that works for me. And so what I chose to do is take out the word filthy and replace it. What kind of rich do I want? Well, I want to be beautifully rich. I am beautifully rich. I am kindly rich. I am generously rich. I am luxuriously rich. Those, those I know that those match my values. Those match my core beliefs. I know that as I get more money, there is more good to be done. That money doesn't have to feel dirty and greedy and gross. That we can look at money and say, you know what? The more money I have, the more help I can give, the more generous I can be, the more kind I can be, right? When I have more money, I can do more good. And that's the rich. I am generously rich. I am rich to help others. I am luxuriously rich. Right? That is the takeaway. And so now it's still a practice, right? Like I said, this happened like 3 days ago. But it's amazing how we can train our brains because now when I think of rich, I don't get that yucky feeling anymore. I'm like, how do I feel in my body when I am generously rich? Right? And I'm like, ooh, I get the tinglies, right? I get that, ooh, there's so much I could do, right? There's so many people I could help with that. And so that's what I would invite you and leave with you today is what type of rich would you want to be, right? Do you have those same feelings of like filthy rich, right? That you need to work through, right? If you are, again, hop into my training and we can go through that together. But what type of rich do you want to be? Maybe it's wholeheartedly rich, heart-centered rich, right? Um, impactful rich. Ooh, I like that one, right? And so think about that. What kind of rich do you want to be? And I will leave you with that. You guys have the best day, and I will see you next time.